Blog Talk Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good evening. It is the voice of the people with Dean Geronimo and Mark Lee. It's 7 p.m. on Monday, September 25th, 2017. Mark, what's good with you, brother?
Oh, doing well. Had a very busy weekend. Had the pleasure of hosting another event on yesterday afternoon and a little bit into the evening hours over there in the town of Carrboro. They do a thing called the Carrboro Music Day, where they, Carrboro Music Festival, I should say, where they have about 200 musical acts that perform in various venues around that little small town. So I was at one of the stages introducing about somewhere around 5 or 6 acts, and they covered all kinds of styles. They covered everything from a little bit of jazz sound to a little bit of sound that had a little bit of bluesy rock kind of sound, to even a band that was doing stuff from Eastern Europe and had some serious dancing going on with that Eastern European style. And yes, I hate to admit it, they even got me on the dance floor doing a little bit of that Eastern European dance. And so the young lady got on the stage and was, I made the mistake in the introduction of saying that I was not the best dancer, but, you know, if I could be bold enough to get on the dance floor, maybe some other people could as well. And they held me accountable for making that remark and got me on the dance floor at least once. I think they might have wanted me on there 3 or 4 times, but I was a little bit resistant to doing it 3 or 4 times, but I did get out there at least one time and made a semi-fool of myself. So that was cool. And then on, I think it was on one of the other days, it might have been Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. There's a group of folks here that have a scholarship to help get kids into STEM programs. You know, we got to get more of our folks into science, technology, engineering, and math. And they've got a program, with a scholarship that they created in the honor of one of their family members who has passed on. And we're actually going to have them on an upcoming edition of this program. So I talked to them about getting on the show, and they were very excited about that. So I'm hoping to have them come on and conversate with us sometime in October. And on Friday, I was there for a sad event. There was a memorial for a young man who passed away at a very young age. I think he might have been about somewhere in between the ages of around 23, 24, 25. Don't understand what caused him to lose his life at that early age, but don't know whether it was something he did himself or whether it was an accident. Didn't quite get the story from the family as to what that was. But anytime we lose people at a young age, doesn't matter what, it's always a sad occasion. And it seems like he was a real fine gentleman that was involved in having opinions about social justice things and things of that nature. So I don't think I've ever met the man, but it was still sad to hear of that loss to those folks. But it also seemed like his family and friends had great memories and great thoughts of that person. So that was good to see that he did leave at least somewhat of a legacy, even if it was a legacy of a life cut too short. But definitely he seemed like he touched a lot of fine folks. And speaking of touching folks, I was wondering what you thought. I know you were up early watching that game, and I know you're not a happy camper about that game, but, you know, that person that's maintaining office there in D.C. had to make comments over the last week about what the owner should be doing with the athletes. And apparently the athletes took offense at that and came out in even greater protest based on the remarks that that Trump person made about the protests that were already taking place. But I read earlier today that the protests actually intensified over the weekend because of remarks that were made by Trump during this last week. So looks like he just can't not stop putting his foot in his mouth. He also seems like he did that with the trying to repeal the health care, because it seems like McCain and a couple of others have stepped out and said, hey, wait a minute, you know, y'all are talking about impacting a lot of lives if y'all repeal this thing and don't have like a real plan in action when you make the repeal, if you're going to make the repeal. So McCain and some others have stepped out and said, oh, time out. You know, we're trying to get elected, so we can't be just following you blindly because you say you want us to follow us blindly.
You know what? I honestly don't care about his comments. I guess my skin is thicker than most. You can say what you want to say. You know, it doesn't bother me. He's going to say stuff stupid, and sometimes I believe that the more attention we give to it. Now, it was a response to, you know, what he said, that's fine. But when it carries over week after week, and then people are stuck on the same thing, the more attention you give stupidity, the more credibility you lend to it. So for me, I'm like, all right, you decided to do, and yes, more people, what he thought was going to divide made people come together, but now it's that part. It's time to start focusing on what is going to be done instead of what has been said. I mean, that's between him and North Korea right now, and he's going to say stupid stuff. I don't know why people are still surprised. We're going on 8 months. If you know somebody is dumb, expect them to say dumb things. If you know somebody doesn't logically think, expect them to do illogical things. And it's not a surprise. It's just what's surprising is no one has devised a plan of how to get rid of the stupidity. If you understand what I'm saying, they focus more on, can you believe he said this? Can you believe? Well, yeah, I can, because he's not that smart. And I wouldn't expect more of someone who has less. So, with him, it's like, all right, well, it doesn't surprise me. So, but now, what are the people going to do about it? As far as all of us, not just one or two, but what is everybody? Where's the plan? I mean, if you leave a fool in the corner to keep yelling, the fool is going to keep yelling, and they're going to keep yelling until they make you do something that pushes you out of your character. So, I don't know. It's something that not surprising. They put that new bill up, and they just, it's like, if you understand the stupidity, you're stuck on one thing. I need to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which they termed Obamacare. But now, like you got Senator Susan Collins, she said, no, it's called the Graham-Cassidy bill. And once again, it died. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why they keep focusing on the same thing. It's like trying to break tempered glass. If you hit it, and it keeps bouncing back, and it's designed not to break, why do you keep hitting it? Either you're dumb, stupid, or a combination of the two. So, you can't, I mean, we're 8 months in, and you're still trying to repeal. All of your attempts have failed. You are proving the definition of insanity. You can't just let it go. You took the L. You took the L the first time. All right, you try it again. It's just like somebody going for an appeal after being convicted. If you lose the appeal, man, it's over. Like, stop putting, I got a new, I can't wear the Adidas, so I'm going to wear the Pumas. All right, I can't wear the Pumas, so I'm going to bring Saucony's back. All right, the Saucony's don't match, so I'm going to get me some New Balance. Dude, get you some damn boots, because after a while, it just does not work. And at some point, you have to just say, all right, let's get on to the next thing. You know what I mean?
I hear you, but and I just find it funny that you mentioned North Korea. We got folks calling each other's names. He came over there with that whole Rocket Man thing, and then as the war of words escalates, apparently, Kim came back and went on TV to declare Trump mentally deranged and, in his words, dutard, and vowed to make him pay dearly. So I mean, you got two insane folks in there having a dialogue of insanity. So it just seems like, we got folks that are insane on both sides yelling back and forth at each other. So it seems to me that they both got issues, one maybe more than the other, and I'm not even going to say which one that might be, but they both seem like they've got issues, and they want to sit there and play word tit for tat with, all kinds of lives and other things hanging in the balance. So I kind of agree with something you said. I think it might have been a couple of weeks ago, that we just need to find a good old boxing ring and let them duke it out among themselves, and not be trying to put other people in the world in the line of their fire.
They can't help it, and when people are in their feelings, they have a tendency to not logically think. And the only thing they believe that is correct is their immediate response. And they're playing a game of checkers. Nobody's playing chess at this point. Everyone is kind of like in their feelings. You got people losing friendships and all kinds of stuff over something that next year you're going to look back and say, man, that was kind of dumb. And We got somebody at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that not a lot of people realize now that they don't want, but it's a little too late because when it was time to make a decision, a hasty one was made. So now we all suffer the consequences of rash decisions. That's lesson one of, if you don't want to fail, then you think things through. And I think all of the drama started then when people were like, okay, well, a vote for Trump or non-vote for Trump is a vote for Hillary and all this other kind of craziness. And next thing you know, well, you get the fool anyway. We would have been jacked either way, in my opinion. So, until we decide we're tired of the political game being played by both major parties, they show up at your church. They show up everywhere else, smiling and tap dancing for your vote, telling you they got hot sauce in the bag, and then, or promising things that they know they are not able to deliver. So it was poor on both sides. When are we going to break that? And we have to do that as a people. We can't do that with just a few, and then everybody else is against because you don't think the same way. The good thing about free will is, we're able to think on our own, decide what we want or what's in our better interest, and no one can tell you that it's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. I think we got a call there, but one thing I was going to add to that, I am glad to see that some of our sports athletes are following the tradition of what's been going on for years. I mean, this whole thing, folks try to say that, there has to be separation between our athletes and our folks that are being politically active. But, hey, as I read in an article recently, this has been going on for a while. I mean, think back to the track athletes back in the Olympics that raised their fists. Think back to Muhammad Ali, who was making political statements throughout his career. Think back to folks like I think Jim Brown even made some political comments and things of that nature. So there have been some great athletes that have definitely, saw that as a platform and used it as a platform to make some stands for some issues that they felt needed to be addressed. So I'm glad to see that our athletes are actually continuing a legacy that has been going on for some time.
Oh, indeed. And like the old folks say, some of us can multitask. But we're going to move on and find out who rang our doorbell. So welcome to the Voice of the People. Who we got on the line? I think I know who it is, but introduce yourself, brother.
This is Jason Jones. How you brothers doing?
We're good,
doing
man.
good.
We're good. Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight at the Voice of the People. And I'm waiting for this thing to pull up so I can properly introduce you, to those that are listening. And just a quick note while I'm waiting for that, we're also on the I posted earlier today of where we can be found. And we're also a part of the Worldwide Podcast Network now. The gentleman that called the other day to welcome us to the podcasting family. So that's just another way to find the Voice of the People. So we're getting there little by little, and we're making it. But as far as the gentleman that's on the line, Mr. Jason Jones, he's married to his high school sweetheart. He's the father of 4 children, Brooklyn, Ruby, Jason Jr., and Pepper. And after graduating from high school and after a few years of post-secondary education and working, he decided that keeping his family's head above water was no longer good enough. So he made it his mission to use his passion for his children as the motivation to help him reach his potential as a man, a husband, and a father. This led him to create Daddy Up, which is an inspirational lifestyle brand dedicated to changing the face of fatherhood by creating a higher standard for fathers to hold each other and to be responsible and accountable for the lives that they've created while constantly striving to be better. Now, through Daddy Up, Jason has been able to speak and deliver his message of motivation to hundreds of fathers throughout the Philadelphia and South Jersey areas. He's organized numerous community events, such as Ties and Tiaras, which is like a daddy-daughter dance, the Daddy Up Easter egg hunt. He's also the organizer of the Willenboro Welcome Back, and that's an event that for the last 2 years called on the men of Willingboro, New Jersey to come together and greet the students at Willingboro High School with